If your soil is hard, lifeless, and struggling to grow anything consistently, it's not because you need more fertilizer. It's because your soil is biologically dead. And most gardeners are accidentally killing the very organisms that make plants thrive. The biggest mistake I see is people feeding plants directly while starving the soil. They dump synthetic fertilizers or even compost on the surface and expect results. But without active biology underneath, nutrients don't cycle properly. That leads to weak roots, poor water retention, and honestly, crops that look fine at first but never really perform. One of the fastest ways to tell if your soil is alive or not is by checking moisture, pH, and temperature conditions at root level. I use a simple 4-in-1 soil meter for this. It measures moisture, pH, temperature, and light. And it removes a lot of guesswork. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. What most people don't realize is that if your soil is even slightly off in moisture or pH, worms won't stay no matter what you add. That's why, some gardens never seem to improve. Now here's where things get interesting, because once you fix those conditions, you can actually pull worms into your soil almost on demand. And yes, it can happen within 24 hours. So, worms don't just randomly appear, they actually move toward food and the right environment. If your soil is, compacted, dry, or chemically imbalanced, they just leave. It's honestly that simple. In my own raised beds, I've tested this over and over again. I had 2 beds side by side, growing the same crops, same watering schedule, but only one had active organic matter, and the other didn't. Within just a few days, one bed was absolutely full of worm activity, and the other stayed completely empty. That's when I really started digging deeper into what actually attracts them. It turns out worms aren't searching for fertilizer. What they're after is partially broken down organic material, combined with stable moisture and a neutral pH. And that's where this $2 formula comes in. This simple mix really does change everything. This isn't complicated, and honestly, that's the point. The formula is based on materials most people already have or can get cheaply. I use a mix of chopped kitchen scraps, a small amount of molasses or sugar, and water. That's it. The goal is to create a quick microbial bloom that signals food availability. The ratio I've found works best is about 1 handful of finely chopped scraps, 1 tablespoon of molasses, and roughly 1 liter of water. Mix it well and let it sit for a few hours, not days. You don't want it fully decomposed, just activated. Then you pour this directly onto the soil in the evening, and timing matters more than people think. Worms are most active at night. If you apply this mixture during the day, heat and sunlight reduce microbial activity and moisture levels. But apply it in the evening, and by nightfall, the soil becomes an active feeding zone. In multiple tests, I've seen worm activity increase overnight, especially in beds that were previously low in life. But here's what most people get wrong when they try something like this. They apply it to dead soil and expect instant results. If your soil is completely compacted or extremely dry, this formula won't work immediately. Worms need pathways to move through the soil. That's why before applying anything, I always loosen the top few inches of soil. Not deep tilling, just enough to improve airflow and water penetration. Then I check moisture. The soil should feel like a wrung-out sponge, not dry, not muddy. This is where that soil meter becomes useful again. You can quickly confirm whether conditions are actually suitable instead of guessing. Because if moisture is off, worms won't come. It doesn't matter how good your formula is. And there's another layer to this that most gardeners miss entirely: how microbes act as the real attractant. Worms don't just eat scraps. They feed on microbes breaking those scraps down. When you add that simple mixture, you're not feeding worms directly, you're feeding bacteria and fungi. That microbial explosion is what draws worms in. So, this is why, fresh organic inputs actually work better than dry, finished compost when your goal is to attract worm activity quickly. In my own container gardens, I've even tested this out in large grow bags, and within just a day or two, worm presence increased significantly, especially when the conditions were already pretty close to ideal. But this also explains something really important. Why is it that some gardens never see worms, no matter what they add? If you're constantly using chemical fertilizers or overwatering, you're actually disrupting microbial life. And without microbes, worms just have no reason to stay. It's not about adding more inputs, it's about creating the right environment. That's honestly the difference between soil that improves over time and soil that just stays stuck. And once worms establish themselves, everything changes. Worms improve soil structure, increase aeration, and cycle nutrients in a way no fertilizer can match. In beds where I've consistently encouraged worm activity, water retention improves, root growth becomes more aggressive, and plant health stabilizes. You start seeing fewer deficiencies even without increasing inputs. That's because worms are constantly processing organic matter and releasing nutrients in plant-available forms. And the effect compounds over time. How to keep worms in your soil long-term. Attracting worms is one thing. Keeping them is another. You need to maintain consistent organic input, stable moisture, and minimal disturbance. I add small amounts of organic material regularly rather than large amounts occasionally. This keeps microbial activity steady. Mulching also helps. It protects the soil surface, retains moisture, and provides a continuous food source. In hydroponic systems, you obviously won't have worms in the same way, but the principle still applies. Biology drives plant health. Whether it's microbes in water or soil, organisms in beds, the system depends on life, not just nutrients. And this is where many gardeners shift from struggling to consistent success. Because once you understand that soil is a living system, not just a medium, your entire approach changes. You stop reacting to problems and start building conditions that prevent them. If you've made it this far, you're already thinking differently than most gardeners who are still chasing quick fixes. This isn't about a single trick. It's about understanding why that trick works and using it to your advantage. If you want more practical, tested methods like this that actually improve your soil and increase yields, subscribe and stay with the channel. Because once your soil is alive, everything else becomes easier.